It's nice to have a big workshop so when it's raining there's a place to work. My new project is I'm going to make a greens washer. Many of the market gardeners, they have theirs, some homemade, some they purchased, and so I stopped by Lowe's and picked up a few pieces here, and I'm going to take this 40-gallon storage tote and we're going to see if we can't make a greens washer, because it sure will save some time. There's not very many fittings that's required. Now I purchased me a 10-foot section of 1-inch PVC, a couple of T's, 4 90s, and then I picked me up a bigger T because I want to run a 1.5 or 1.25 pipe running up from this, so I'll bushing it down on each side to 1 inch. And then I'm going to build all this to where it fits inside this tank. I used my PVC cutters. These are really handy for cutting the PVC. This is the only piece that's left out of the 10-foot section. And what I've done is I've taken and cut all these pieces to where I've got this contraption. Now what I'll do is glue these up. I'll set this up at the right angle for my 1.25 inch, and then once I get it positioned right, I'll take and put that pipe in. So let me get this all put together. Now I'm going to try to assemble all this stuff. Now normally when you do PVC, if you was doing it for water or something like that, you'd prime it. But normally in a situation like this, I just use the cement itself. It's not necessary to take and prime this. You'll get a good tight bond with just the cement. And I recommend doing this on a piece of cardboard, so you just push these in and give a little twist to it. Make sure they stay there. Make sure they go all the way in, because if you measure properly and they don't go all the way in, you're going to end up with a problem with everything fitting together. And I'm doing this on the floor so that I can make sure that all of my pieces are flat, or pretty much so. I don't want it kind of twisted and wonky jawed. And I like to do this with latex gloves, that way I don't, when I get this where it would be on my hand, I don't have a problem with it. I'm assembling this in a certain order because I want it to lay flat. Now I have a slight angle on the back of my tub, and I want this to kind of lean towards the back just a little bit, so I'll compensate for that angle. Hopefully I'll be pretty accurate on which way I do it. Now, as I can see here, I've got a little bit of a situation because this pipe is a little bit too short. So what I'm going to do is, to compensate, I'm going to trim these other two off. Now, let's see if we can't get back to business here. because the way that this is, we've got to assemble this whole end at one time. So we want to make sure that we kind of get them all level when we put them together. Now, let's see. Just use our spare piece here. This will kind of work. We've got to get glue on all of these. We're going to put all these together. Now we'll look down at this and make sure it's kind of, both ends are in line. And then it'll be time to check it for fit. I'm going to kind of put it down here. And I want this to fit down in here snug, so that, and I don't want it on the bottom, because what's going to happen is dirt's going to fall down. So I want to stir this water, but I don't want to stir the dirt back up. I want to leave it to where it can still stay in the bottom. And so this ought to fit good. Okay, now all I need to do is put my pipe on there, and things should be good, and this should keep it from floating up too. Now we'll put this final piece of PVC together here. Now I just need to drill holes in this so it'll jet the air up. Okay, I'm going to drill 1/8 inch holes down here, about every 4 inches apart. I'm not going to do exact, but I'm drilling these kind of off to an angle, as you can see, and the reason for that is we don't want it to just blow straight up. We want it to really stir this water around, because this water is what's going to wash these greens. And we're going to put them on both sides in this center. And we're going to put them just on one side of this. Now, if the flow isn't quite like I want it, it'll just be a matter of drilling some more holes, but it should work fairly well. We'll go ahead and put one in each of these on the end. Okay, I'll go ahead and drill the rest of these. All right, looks like you got it all assembled in there and have holes drilled. Now, the only thing you're going to need is some water. We'll use the shop vac on the drain hose here, or on the blower hose. And when we clean this up each time, we can put it in here just like that. We can let it dry out good, and then put this top on so we don't have to worry about it getting any type of contaminants in there, or as in the South, mud dauber nests, things like that. So this should make my wife happy. That's the hardest thing about cleaning greens, is washing them and rewashing them and get that dirt off, and this should take care of it. I'll take in the morning, I've got some mustard greens that need to be picked and washed, and we'll try this out and see how it works. All right, everything's put together. We have it hooked up with the vacuum cleaner. It works out with the vacuum attachment, works perfectly for here. The only problem I have is I planned for this to fit in there tight, but what happens is the once the water sits there long enough and in the heat, it bows, and so it doesn't keep this in tight. I tried some boards, but once it bowed, it took them out of place. So I'll have to figure some way on that, maybe a clamp or something that's pretty easy, but we'll see how well this works. So it seems to be stirring these around and washing the dirt off. So this ought to take and make it a lot easier, the process of washing greens, because that's kind of a daunting task around here. I mean, wash them once, wash them twice, and then not sure if we get all the dirt out, which this will save a lot of time.